So I'm cleaning up the decision tree diagram compiler, and I wrote this only a few weeks ago. Here it is, and I have no clue what I was doing. So let's try to clean this up, act like architects the way I recommend, but don't listen to myself. And this is what I want to turn the diagram into. Many fewer parts at the top level, and I've just pushed them down into parts down here. And as we can see, I've added some more comments and stuff down here as I've gained understanding of what's going on. See, it's a pretty simple pipeline. And read the file in, we do some sort of OM.js T2T processing here. Then we do some more T2T processing. Then we run a bash script of some kind. Then we do something that looks completely useless, which is JQ dot. I guess that was for readability. I did build this in chunks. So I think I did this for readability during the bootstrapping process, so I could look at it. Here's a chunk of JQ that looks utterly magical to me. And then I call something called translate.js. And then I drop down into a transmogrification step that uses prologue and then emits the code in a pseudo dialect called Frisch and does it in 2 steps. It does a T2T conversion of the code, and then it indents it for human readability. Again, that's for debugging. And then something I called Python, but I don't think it really was. And it gets emitted with a .py extension. So for starters, I could add, I should have done this earlier, but I'm going to do it in retroactively. I could be adding probes here. So I don't know, let's add one here. Connect that to there. We're going to make it rounded. Save it. And then run it. Where am I? And there's the output from the probe. Yep, there it is. At step 18, it called it A, which, yeah, I just left it alone. I called it A. And then it gave it a suffix of lowercase 12. And then it dumped it out. So what we're seeing is a bunch of JSON with some big fat draw IDs in here and IDs that I took this ID and turned it into that ID on the way down. Oh, okay. And some div stuff, and then a map at the end that says this big fat ID for human readability purposes is called that internally. So this is what's in the draw.io file. Maybe we should open the draw.io file. Open text interpret.draw.io. Yes. So there's the file that I'm compiling to some sort of code. It's just a decision tree with only rhombuses and what are called process nodes. They come from here. And then there's arrows labeled yes or no, and those are the only types of things I'm allowing, yes or no's, which makes compiling really easy. All I have to do is look for rhombuses, yes, no's, and processes. And all this text inside these things just gets punched out, gets emitted as the text that it is, and then I do some cleaning up. I take out some percents, I take out new lines and @ signs, and I just collapse these things that collapses into compile, integer, open parenthesis, item, close parenthesis. So I drop the at, I drop the new lines and spaces, and looking at that stuff. So a probe, in this case, because the volume of information here is huge, I'd rather have it in a file. So I could stick a file here, but I've already got that kind of information lying around. I just make more of these output ports, and then the PBP processor turns them into out dot whatever is in here, out dot frish, out dot py, and then I can say out dot one dot, I think it's JSON most of the way through. So I'm gonna, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna call them. So how many are there? I guess I want to look at that. So that's out dot zero dot XML. So let's put one of those down there. Now I go back to 100% so I can see it. Out 0.xml. It's actually GraphML, but whatever. I think my editor will like the term XML better. I forgot to make it round. I'll set it as the default style here. Maybe I want to change the color of that to something to remind me that I'm, yeah, okay, well, would it be better? Let's make it red. There, okay, so if I change it to red to remind myself that this is stuff I'm just adding, maybe I should make it dashed or something. What are the other choices here? Oh, dash dot. Yeah, there. Okay, that looks pretty useless. I'll set it as the default style. This thing is outputting JSON, so that should be, I'll just copy that. That's going to be 1.JSON, I think. I reserve the option to change my mind in case I'm getting this wrong. I'll put another one of those here. I think I'll call that 2.JSON. Wire it up. That should be 3.JSON. Oh. I don't think there's any point putting one here. We'll make this 5.JSON. Just to remind myself that I'm skipping something. 5.JSON here. There we go. Tahoe is making my machine jerk to a halt every now and then. And then we'll do that 6.JSON. Kill that. And put a fresh one in here to there. 6.JSON. I can move that over because it's bothering me. We should look in there to see. Yeah, I want to look at the Swipple stuff. Tree walk. What does it produce? I think it produces DT stuff. I think 6, so I'm going to do 7.DT. 7.DT. This stuff, well, the indentation, we'll do 8.DT. Very. No, it's not DT, it's fridge. Move from there to there. I won't bother doing this because this is just some artifact of my debugging processes. So I save the stuff, and then hopefully I run it and it should produce, yeah, it produced all the outs.